live, sir.
Very good. I'd like to call to order a regular meeting of the Summers Board of Selectmen. Today is Thursday, August 17th, 2023. Please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So with regards to roll call, we have Selectman Meyer on my right, Selectman Schmidt on my left. We have our CFO, Brian Wissinger, on my right, Director of Operations, Kim LaFleur, on my left. In the audience, we have Director of Social Services, Matt Cox. We also have DPW Department of Land Use Director, Todd Rowland. Director of Recreation and Leisure Services, Maureen Parcell. Director of the Library, Joanne Nichting. And we have from the Police Department, Trooper Price, as well as Kim Liddy, the Administrative Officer. So thank you for being here. Public comment, we have, I see no public in the room this evening, even though they're always welcome. Presentations by First Selectman. First, I'd like to mention that we have a blood drive scheduled for this coming Monday in this very room, August 21st, from 10 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, just want to check on that. That's number one. Number two, the Government Finance Officers Association has recognized the town of Summers for their outstanding, they were given a certificate of achievement for excellence in financial reporting. This is something that we received effective as of our end of year 2022, so you're a year behind, right?
Yeah, they...
But as far as the plaque goes, we have up in my conference room upstairs.
I think they need new one, right?
We need more room on the plaque. We're running out of space for
Well, I think they stopped sending the little
emblems.
coins. Yeah, they don't do
So
those.
I don't have to get a plaque?
No, they stopped doing them. They don't do them.
All right,
anymore.
well, that's even better news, okay.
Yeah.
No additional work necessary. This is good. But I think it's important to recognize the finance office and the fine work that they're doing, so thank you very much.
Awesome job.
Another item I'd like to mention is that Commissioner Boughton, who is I believe, the tax commissioner for the state, but he's also designated by the governor as the head of the, what's it called, the
Work division?
infrastructure funding for the state. So he's got two hats he's wearing. So he's coming to visit Summers at 1:30 in the afternoon on Tuesday, August 29th, to talk about, and I'm sure he's coming for a tour as well, probably is my guess, not just the conference office of the Selectmen, to talk about sidewalks in Camp Idaho and anything else we want to bring up, so.
What time?
1:30 in the afternoon.
1:30.
Yeah, so, it should be a good meeting, though. I'm sure there'll be, he's been requested to come and meet with us via our liaison with Sullivan and Lashane lobbying firm in Hartford. And he is a former Republican mayor of Danbury, a very successful one, Danbury, Connecticut, and is part of the current governor's administration. So, Mark Boughton. B-O-U-G-H-T-O-N, yeah. So that should be a productive meeting, I believe. So that's my end of my presentations.
Town hall, the meeting should be at town hall.
Yeah, meeting's going to be in the conference room.
Okay, thank you.
Selectmen's conference room, town hall. Let's see. Consent agenda, board and commissions, appointments and resignations. I don't think we have any of those. No. Okay, opportunity to add urgent items. I don't think we have any of those.
Don't have anything.
No, I have nothing.
Okay, Finance Department. Transfers and appropriations, we have none.
Nope.
CFO's financial report and updates.
Yep, so, as you said earlier, the town of Summers did receive the, annual award from the GFOA, Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. I was looking back through as much history as I could, trying to determine how many years in a row this is. I think it's 18, but I lost count.
Wow.
But don't diminish the importance of
Yeah,
the
no,
award.
it's not everyone gets it, so to continue getting it is a good thing. And then, today we, Danielle and I, did our training for the daily time entry module online, as well as, leave absences for the new, accounting software. We got everything set up and completed on it. And so now we're beginning to schedule staff town-wide to come in for a training that I'm going to put on in the auditorium for everyone to teach everybody in town how to use it properly and how to put their time in.
What is it for besides putting in time?
That's all it's for right now. That's what this will be on. This will be for them to learn how to input their time, where to go, how to use the site, how to request time off.
This is just for directors, or?
No, this is for all staff.
All staff. And what date is that, I guess?
So we have 3 sessions, all are at 10 a.m. They're available 9/5, 9/6, and 9/7. So far I have about 40% of the town signed up. The 9/6 date is pretty much full. I've got 19 people in it, and I think beyond that it's going to get a little crowded. But we'll accommodate it.
Where are you going to hold this meeting?
Here in the auditorium.
Okay.
So we'll use the projector so that everybody can see the screen and walk through it, take notes, ask questions. And I will be recording it as well, so that we can have a link for future employees, new hires, and so forth, so that they can learn how to use the system as well.
And you can tell them after the fact, is remember I told you so.
Yep. Or when people, forget how to do it, and go reference the link in the email.
Oh, that's a good idea. I like
It
that.
makes it efficient.
And then we'll do another one on September 18th for all of the directors,
17.
to learn how to approve all of the time off, approve timesheets, how to input payables, attach documents, and so forth as well.
Does that include me? I'm just curious.
No, actually, because you don't approve any
I just sign the
payables.
timesheets.
Yeah, you sign the timesheets.
Yeah.
You don't do any payables.
Are there still gonna be paper, I guess, for him to sign?
Nope.
Or- Okay, so I don't think he, okay.
Yep.
So there'll be no time sheets?
Yeah, because you approve all the salary ones, and salary people won't be putting in any timesheets.
Right, just for their time off.
You're gonna do accruals though through it, right? Benefit time accruals, like vacation time and
Yep.
stuff? So he'll have to sign off on that.
Right, so, yes.
There's an accrual module as
Yep,
well, yeah.
somebody will have to approve those time off.
Yeah.
Yep, so that will...
That
will
doesn't
have to
change,
be-
or that's gonna be done online.
Yeah.
Yep, that'll be done all online as
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
So, yeah, that one I'll...
You will be approving stuff online.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me know if I need training.
That one I'll show you how to do, it'll be easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, your go live is 10/1, is that the date?
10/1.
Yeah, perfect, great.
Yep,
Oh,
so
that'd
we
be
have
great.
three more payrolls. 2 of them will be dual payrolls. We'll run them in both systems, compare taxes and so forth.
Good.
And
What was the director's date again? I'm sorry.
September 18th.
Okay. 10 a.m.
Yeah, I think I have it for 10
Thank you.
a.m.
And you're doing, like requisition or purchase order entry and things,
Yep.
so that'll be a separate,
That'll be for the
Training module.
director day.
Yeah,
Yep.
perfect.
On the director day, purchase order, requisitions,
Okay.
linking payables, everything.
perfect.
That one will be a little bit more comprehensive.
yeah,
Okay.
great.
Sounds like it'll save us some time and,
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
and paper as well.
Yep.
That'd be great.
Lot less paper coming through the office.
Terrific.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Deal.
Nice.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, great. Thank you for that presentation. Scheduled payments, payment authorization. Got a total of $403,992.94. like to make that motion?
Yeah, I'd be happy to make the motion to approve the payment authorization in the amount of $403,992.94.
Second that.
Any further discussion on the motion?
The only question I had is, I see the payment to Luigi Sartori, our health director.
Yep.
We're paying the full amount in advance.
We pay based on the contract. It's supposed to be within, I want to say it's within the first quarter, but it might have even had to be, but it's for the entire year, yes.
I think we should look at that. I don't think that contract's been updated since the prior administration.
I agree. I think this was the last year of it, though.
Okay.
I think it was
We'll
a
have to revisit.
Yeah, I think it was a 3-year contract, and the last time it was,
Okay.
I think it was signed in just before 20.
That's fine. And any type of revision we do, I mean, we should have like a, maybe a July 1 payment or a January 1 payment or something, just
Yep.
so that it's not, we don't typically pay people before they provided the service.
Yep.
So that's all. Okay, that's fine. I'm fine with it.
Do you want me to send you the contract?
I have it.
Oh.
I have it. It's like a one-pager.
Okay, yeah.
The
It's very
previous
small.
first
I think,
selectman.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's very brief. so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other discussions or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye, motion passes. Thank you. Next item on the agenda are updates from boards and commissions. I don't think we have anything there.
Would it be possible for the fall to start scheduling a couple updates, like open trails or like a couple of different boards, economic development? I know they've come in the past, just to, maybe pick one commission a month or
Yeah.
something and have them come in and just give us a brief update. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Any pending business this evening?
No, sir.
None of that, okay. New business. The first item that involves the Agricultural Society has been withdrawn, so we can avoid
Seeking other avenues.
addressing that.
Yeah.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the acceptance of the resignation of Matthew Baylor, Michael Baylor, part-time firefighter, paramedic, with an effective date of July 19th, 2023.
Make a motion that the board accept the resignation of part-time firefighter paramedic Michael Baylor effective July 19th, 2023.
Second.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in support say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next item is an update from Kim LaFleur on the Human Resources Position and Employee Handbook. Both of these, by the way, have been sort of pending for months, so I'm just looking for an update on where we are,
Sure.
when we can expect results.
Sure, no problem. So as you know, we posted the position back on July 5th. I waited due to, because the office wasn't completed, it got canceled, so I went ahead on that day and posted it. We received 55 responses.
It's like, first of all, say that the person coming in is not dependent upon the office being available.
No,
You can put the person
I was
anywhere. Just-
worried about where we were going to put that person and, so.
Okay, but we do have space to put the person in the meantime, so I just want to make that point. Okay, go ahead.
Sure. So anyways, we had 55 who responded. We rejected 41 due to lack of experience and suitability. We had 12 remaining applicants. 6 never responded. The other 6, 3 accepted other positions. I don't know if they were full-time or part-time. The other 3 individuals, we don't want to bring in for interviews based on their writing skills and responses to our online interviews. So Kathy and I met this week to discuss the recruitment process and next steps before she left for her long weekend away. We both thought that we should post the position again. Kathy has other avenues for sourcing applicants, such as Gov, HR, and other public sector platforms. So She found those to be successful for recruitment, and that way she can stay connected to the possible candidates on her account. Because it got a little sticky with Indeed, because every time she went on Indeed, I had to send her a code, and it was sloppy. I don't really like Indeed anyway, so.
But we still use it.
I still use it because you just never know what you're gonna get. You know, you gotta put it out there. So we did, and it wasn't successful, so.
Are there other platforms you can use as well besides
Yes, Kathy
Indeed?
has access to other platforms that.
Well, we didn't do that initially.
Because she just got access, I brought her in after the fact, because I got, overwhelmed, because I knew I was gonna get so many applicants.
Okay, I'm just concerned, this is a position that we funded for this year.
Yeah,
Funding started July 1, it's 6 weeks into the year. and
yeah, I can't.
Still haven't interviewed candidates.
Yeah, and we haven't gotten one good candidate out of 55, sir.
Okay.
So, we're moving on now. We also talked about changing the job title to Human Resources Coordinator instead of Assistant. We found that more appealing to the applicant. So,
Yeah,
that's a
Okay.
suggestion.
sounds good to me.
Sounds good to
Any
me,
discussion
too.
on that?
No, I'm fine with it. I mean, do we need to
Resources
take action
coordinator,
to?
I believe so. I would like a motion just to change the title. I'm not changing any of the job description. I'm not modifying anything in that piece, just the title.
I mean, I know we have a budgeted appropriation. I mean, I guess two things. I mean, number one, is the salary competitive?
I don't think so.
I mean, is it possible to maybe reduce the hours if we posted it at 28, reduce it to 20, but pay a higher salary? And I guess
think
the
that-
third option potentially, I don't know if we've explored it, is shared services with the Board of Ed. 'Cause I know the board has someone, I think in a part-time capacity.
She's gone full-time now.
She is.
Yeah, I talked to them over a
This
year
year's budget,
ago.
She went full-time, and
They
we did talk
budgeted.
to
I
her
talked
about
to
it, and they're,
Education
she's
Department.
overwhelmed over there as is, and doesn't have any.
I talked to the Board of Education, the Education Department over a year ago about that.
And
One of the problems is that the focus of the HR person there is much different. Focus from But I think that's a good idea, that, hey, the person was part-time, so why not spend the other part of your time over here?
now they're full-time.
But they've gone full-time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Money as a bonus.
I personally don't want to reduce their hours. I think 20 is good, and...
It's
I would-
actually 28, Bob.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear
Yeah, that's
you.
all right, but what I'm saying is, I would like to offer them more money. If we're having trouble getting people, I think that would be what we need to do, is to increase the amount of money that we're offering them, and maybe hopefully we'll attract, qualified candidates.
So what's the current offer that we're,
It's,
Proposing.
29, an hour at 28 hours current.
do we know about whether that's competitive or not? You said you didn't think it was.
Well, just based on, it's really people looking for full-time, positions, and for HR, they know what they're looking for. You know what I mean?
Yes,
They
they do.
want the benefits, they want the full-time.
We
I get that.
budgeted 42,777.
Yeah.
What's the rate, Kim?
29.38 an hour
So it's 61,000. I mean, it's not
for
bad.
28 hours.
If you do it as a full-time equivalent, that's 61,000.
61,000, yeah.
Full-time equivalent.
So, yeah, and one of my thoughts could, now we're, like you said, we're 7 weeks in.
Yeah.
Do you start condensing, you don't need an additional appropriation, but the less weeks that we spent, the higher it can go, because we can still spend the same 42,000 in this
No, you're
year,
right.
and then by budget time, we may have to increase it for next year's budget, but, if now we're at a 40, say it's a 40-week position, by the time we actually get somebody in, you take that same amount.
I mean, so say you did a salary range, say we did 29 to say 3150 or something.
You
We
could
could
go up to
then
35.
look at the applicants. I don't know if we want to go that high, but I mean, if we then look at the applicants and then see, we can put them where we
Yep.
think they fit. I mean, the trouble is we got to make sure that we fit within the existing grid.
That's what I'm saying.
The
So,
person.
If it was, we're 7 weeks in now, so by the time we actually hired somebody, we'd probably be another 5 weeks in, so at 12 weeks, you track that off. If you did, 40 weeks, the same appropriation, 40 weeks at 28 hours a week, you could go up to 38.19 an hour.
Yeah, but the problem is then they're making more per hour than our directors are. And
Absolutely.
that's the problem. So I
Absolutely.
think, maybe you go a
Because
little bit
then by the
higher.
time you do that full-time, that is high.
It's like 75,000, which
Right.
is more like a director salary here.
Absolutely.
But the person's only working part-time, too.
That's the problem.
But the person is a trained professional as well,
Yeah.
which is what this town has needed for years.
Maybe we set a range, like 29 to maybe, 33 or something?
That sounds okay to me.
And then we'll look at the person and
Yeah.
we'll put them on there, right?
33 is equal to 60,000 at full-time, so
Okay, this
68, right?
35 hours a week.
Well, no, because typically you do a 2080, 2080 is the
Oh, I
typical
did
multiplier.
35,
Yeah,
because town hall is 35. So I did
2080
35.
times, okay. Yeah, that's fine, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't want us to keep not having somebody for the position.
Oh, I agree with that.
And, you know, if we don't,
What,
I think that we have to realize that the unemployment rate is 3.5%, nationally. It's one of the lowest rates it's been in a long time. And it's just, there's a lot of people that have different choices. You know what I'm saying? It's competitive, and we gotta realize that.
we're looking for a part-time person now, but someone that has already been working in the field,
Yeah.
and I know that the person we're using as a consultant works part-time herself.
Well, she's a professional.
So,
so
I
I'm
know,
listening to her,
but,
so.
I mean, she should know what the,
Well, she said, is there an option to go full-time? She says, that's our problem here. That is our huge problem. She
Yeah.
said that right off the back, do you have it in your budget? I goes, I'll speak to the Board of Selectmen about it. I goes,
well, we
don't
just
know.
started the fiscal year, so.
And I told her that, so, and I,
I mean, it's hard to justify a full-time position though, based on, what do we have, 40 full-time employees? I mean, we're small. I mean, to
43,
have
yeah.
a full-time HR person for 40 people that's a lot.
you know.
So we might have to bite the bullet. That's the problem. You have to start.
Okay, so we've got a range then, we're talking $29 to $33 an hour.
Yeah,
33?
33.
33.
At part-time?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's still the 28 hours a week, and,
Okay.
I mean, if it,
And I would like, if
The ends
people are
justify
telling
the
you
means
that
in the future,
it's not enough, or they want more hours, let us know.
Of course.
All right, so I'll make a motion to add to tonight's agenda, a modification to the job description and salary for the, human resource position.
Second.
Any further discussion on the motion? Those in favor say aye. It's added to the agenda.
Aye. Okay, make a motion to amend the previously approved job description for the human resources position to title the job Human Resources Coordinator and to adjust the posted salary range to between $29 and $33 per hour at 28 hours per week.
Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you.
Kim, is there a way to post this more towards Massachusetts as well?
Yes.
Okay, so
She's
you
got
are,
different avenues
Okay.
she's just got access to, and she's excited about it and confident that we can move this a little quicker, so.
okay, 'cause I mean,
I'm
yeah.
glad
yeah.
she's gonna
Yeah, it was a good
change
conversation.
the way we're doing it.
Yes,
Okay, all right, thank you.
you're
All right.
welcome. So the office is getting, constructed this Friday, so that's a good thing. I'm very happy about that.
Like tomorrow?
That's
Yeah.
tomorrow. So we're hoping we can just move this along a little quicker than we did the last time, and I was worried about
Yeah, well,
not
it shouldn't
having-
be totally dependent upon the office, because we have another
Well,
office.
I was, sir, and I'm
It could be
sorry,
used,
so.
you
that
gotta
was
get
my-
the person
that
on
was
board.
a decision I
That's
made,
key.
so.
Get the work done.
Anyways, so.
Okay, I'm just putting the word out.
I heard you.
Okay, thank you.
Job descriptions are ongoing, and so far we spent $8,470 on her consulting services.
How much?
We're not to exceed 15,000.
Okay, that's what I
So
thought.
we're on track, I think, for that. Is there any questions for you guys have for me for the update, or?
But thank you for updating, I appreciate it.
You're
No,
welcome.
thanks for
So in other words, our current consultant couldn't help us in the meantime until we get an HR person on board.
We can, she will help me,
Well,
if I ask
yeah.
her. I mean, but with what?
She's working on
So-
job descriptions, for
Yeah.
instance, I mean, right, that's
Yes,
one thing.
I just said that.
Right, okay.
Mhm.
What else do we need done immediately, I guess is the question.
She's working on recruitment
Yeah, she's gonna do different avenues.
and
Yeah.
job description.
Yeah.
That's a second
She's
part
gonna
of her
explore
job,
different
because she
options.
did the employee handbook first. Now she's working on these two items with us.
Okay.
I mean, is the question, I mean, could she help with day-to-day tasks, like processing FMLA requests, or processing, like, workers'
Absolutely, that's what she
compensation
did in
claims?
Westerly, so she does
Okay.
mentor,
So I guess
absolutely.
maybe we could, to kind of, is a bridge, maybe give her some of that work, like
We
day-to-day?
discussed that, actually, when we bring
Yeah.
this person on board to help with that kind of thing, too.
Okay,
So,
okay.
that was discussed as well,
Okay,
so thank
all
you
right.
for bringing that up.
Yeah, okay, okay.
I think it was the whole idea to begin with, though. It was the HR assistance to the town was hiring a consultant part-time to help us with our immediate needs, right?
Well, those were the three immediate needs that the board voted on, so, not to assist me with my day-to-day operations.
Yeah,
So-
she doesn't have access to any
No, she has
health
no
insurance
access.
records or anything
Okay.
like that, or the
All right.
payroll software to
So-
be able
Very
to
good.
make modifications to employees or.
Right,
Okay.
so,
All right.
next we have the employee handbook. I've been keeping you on the loop, the email, where we stand with, that. So after we received the handbook from Pat McHale's office, I sent it to all the directors, and once I received the comments and concerns from the directors, I forwarded them to the attorney for review and comment. As you know, you were all in that email, and we met with, so the attorney, came back with all the comments, and now the Board of Selectmen will now
Attorney
be...
McHale versus Landolini you're talking about, right?
Just Pat McHale, yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, you will meet with him on September 7th at your regular Board of Selectmen meeting, to go over the employee handbook, and,
He'll be here in person.
he'll be here in
right?
person,
Okay.
so...
sounds good.
Yeah, and hopefully after that, the next steps will be hopefully to lock it up and we can, sign off on it, so...
Finally, right.
Yeah,
Good.
it's a process,
Progress.
it's an important process, so...
Yeah.
That's all I have this evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The local traffic authority, Cooper Price and Kim Liddig. Step forward and tell us what you're looking for.
Good evening. Justin Price, resident trooper. I'm here with Kim Liddig, police administrator. Tonight we have 3 requests to the local traffic authority for use of state and local roads within the town of Summers. The first one that we're going to bring up is a request from Detective Brian Callahan from the Enfield Police Department regarding the 11th annual Law Enforcement Rights Remember. It's out of Springfield, Massachusetts, honoring fallen police officers, correctional officers, and firefighters. They want to utilize state roadways in the town of Summers on September 9th, 2023. The ride in the past, I guess, has been restricted to Massachusetts. This year, they want to extend it into Summers from East Long Meadow to Enfield. We'll be using Route 286, which is Hull Hill Road, and heading on to Route 404, which is Bilton Road. This convoy is going to be comprised of approximately 400 motorcycle riders, motorcycle riders, yes, along with 50 support personnel to include motor units, ambulances, and Peter Pan buses, or actually one Peter Pan bus. They'll be coming down from Massachusetts about approximately 1,200 hours on September 9th. They're not requesting any assistance from us. They just wanted to make us aware of the event.
Very limited access to the state of Connecticut, right? It's really Summers, actually.
Yes.
Jurisdiction.
How many miles roughly, do you think, you know?
What's a mile?
5 miles about
Mile
all,
and
you
a
don't
half.
know, I just was wondering.
Yeah, probably 1 to 2 miles.
1 or 2 miles, I just was, I wasn't,
Yeah.
not much of a,
Actually, they are bicycle riders. Excuse me.
oh, they're bicycles, not motorcycles.
Correct.
Okay.
But they will have about 50 motor units
Good question.
for law enforcement to help facilitate the ride.
So 1 to 2 miles, that's not bad.
And they're bicycle riders, not
Correct.
motorcycle.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
It sure is.
So this is the first time they're coming into Connecticut for Summers. We do recommend LTA approval for this event, and we would also have to send a request to the Department of Transportation, being that it's state roads.
A motion for that, proposal, request?
Yeah, I'd make the motion to approve the 11th Annual Law Enforcement Ride to Remember, Saturday, September 9th, 2023, at 12 p.m.
As presented.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, thank you. Next item.
Our second request is from a Stephen and June Zappa of the Harford County 4-H Association. They want to utilize local roadways only on Sunday, August 20th, which is this Sunday, for the annual 4-H Fair Austin Harlow Memorial Road Race. The current route follows from the Fort Town Fairgrounds to Egypt Road, to Sunshine Farms Drive, to Billings Road, to Piper Lane, to Haystack Lane, to Partridge Run. They turn around on Partridge Run prior to Route 83 and go back to the fairgrounds. The current road race route has not deviated from the past. There's been no major incidents in the past regarding this road race. It's going to take place between 0900 and 1000 hours. There's approximately 30 to 40 runners, and we'll have officers on site to assist with the event. We'll have a lead car and then a car to follow the runners. We do recommend LTA approval, and this only encompasses local roadways, so there's no need to send it to the State Department of Transportation.
You got detours set up, or will be set up?
Basically, for this event, it's only going to be about 30 to 40 runners. We usually just do a lead car and then a car to follow.
All right.
I don't believe...
Yeah, it's pretty quiet.
Yeah, it's not very
Okay.
small.
Good.
We're done in less than an hour or two.
Done in less than an hour?
The only question I had, I know we had a request last meeting as well. Do we have a time frame like that we require these to be submitted? Because I guess my only concern, I mean, like the events this weekend, like if we came back with a problem or concern or issue, there's really no time to address it. So, I mean, obviously, I'm fine with this. I think it's good. I'm saying just for the future. I mean, it may be something that we let people know, or, you know, even in the office, that we try to have, like, say, a 30 days or 45 days or whatever type of notice, so if there are concerns or issues, that we have time.
Yeah, she's an older woman that I've been dealing with since mid-May, actually.
Yeah.
So it's kind of gone back and forth and just being the size, so sorry, it's a little...
It's okay. And again, it's summer, there's vacations.
Yeah, she has
it's-
issues with the...
I get it.
One of the other forms we had to fill out, so...
Yeah, I get
Back and forth to
it.
this several times.
Not heavily
Whose streets are being impacted.
That makes sense, we probably should get it 30 days in advance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would
They did
suggest
have it.
60 days, like the mass gathering permit for most of these things, if at all possible. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Just 'cause if we have to hire overtime, you know, public
Yeah.
works, police, like, we need time to get people scheduled. I mean, just to be fair, that's all, so,
People who live on these roads too, right?
yeah. To give
And we've
notice.
done it before, so there's nothing new about it.
Yeah.
It's just a question of notification.
No problem, but I'm good with it. I think it's comprehensive, and I think it's fine. So I'd make a motion that we approve the Harper County 4-H road race on Sunday, August 20th, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in support say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, thank you. And then, last item.
The last request is from Scott Slater of the Southern New England Athletic Association. They want to utilize local roadways on Saturday, September 16th, 2023, for the annual Summer's Great Escape 5K. The current route is from the Fort Town Fairgrounds to Egypt Road to Field Road, and then back to Egypt Road to the Fort Town Fairgrounds. So they turn around prior to Route 83 as well. The current route hasn't deviated from the past. There's no major incidents to report from previous years. It will require the closure of Egypt Road and Field Road, along with traffic control at the intersection of Billings Road. And it's going to occur between 07:55 hours and 0900 hours. That will be the closure. And officers will be present. We'll also have officers will be present for road closures and traffic control. We do recommend LTA approval, and it doesn't require any DOT approval.
Okay, we need a motion on that.
I have to make a motion to approve the Great Escape Road Race 5K Saturday, September 16th, 2023, from 7:55 a.m. to 9 a.m.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in support say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes, thank you. The next item on the agenda is the extra duty police officer rate increase.
I guess the copy, gotta give it to you guys, so it's great. So we did this 3 years ago, just to get in line with other police departments, Ellington, Stafford, Vernon.
That's one of the
Enfield,
questions, obviously, is...
State police, actually, that's, you got one of each, you gotta pass those out.
Give it to Brian, yeah.
You need help, I'll help you. Yes, please.
So I gotta pass this out, right?
Brian. Okay.
I got it.
It should be 4.
Okay.
All I got is 2, how many am I supposed to be getting?
There's 4.
4?
This is Brian,
See what I got here.
Sorry. I got mine in order.
I know as a teacher for a long time, next time let me do it.
We're short on this one here, I just kept yours, so here's yours to Brian.
Let's see what I got here.
Give that, here,
Okay, I think I got 4 different ones.
give that to Kim, and you get to keep one. All right.
So the current pay scale that we have was on a 3-year term, and it was increased. We had gone like 5 years, summers, without increasing the rates at all. So we increased them back in 2021, 2022, and 2023 to where we're at now, which is $95 an hour for contractors and vendors. When they hire a police officer, that's what we charge, $95 an hour. The officer is at $64 an hour, the town gets $31 an hour. Talked with Brian, we kind of wanted to get this done before the end of the year, right there.
How does that compare to current charges?
So that's on the second page there,
All right.
or your second handout. So we're looking over the next 3 years through 2026 to add $10 overall. So $4 the first year, $2 the second year, $4 the next year. Evenly split between the officer and the town. Keeps us pretty much in line. The second handout, you have the current rates for Ellington, Enfield, Summers, Stafford, Vernon, and State Police. Most of them, over the past 3 years, annually, they raise anywhere from just under $7 an hour to, I've seen upwards of $25 an hour. You go to some larger PDs, West Hartford, Glastonbury, that way, some of them are charging $125 an hour. So I think ours is, kind of in line more with the resident trooper towns in our area, and the local police departments in our area. I think it's a reasonable increase.
So the towns don't necessarily have the same rate, it's just within the ballpark.
Correct.
They have the same.
So earlier this year, the MOU...
We seem to be the lowest of
Correct.
all.
We were extremely low, so before we changed this 3 years ago, we were at $75 an hour. So we were very below everybody else.
Yeah.
We hadn't changed it in 5 years before I did this one 3 years ago.
I got it.
Okay.
The hours worked for fiscal year 2022 is 2,566 and a half hours, which the portion that goes back to the town, general fund revenue is 72,485. Fiscal year 23, 3,280 and a half hours worked, which was $94,537 revenue for the town. So it averages over $83,000 the last 2 fiscal years, which went up prior to fiscal year 19 and 20, which was just under $60,000. So it is additional funding for the town. It's additional incentives for the officers to work these jobs so we can have them, because we do have traffic control requirements on certain roads in summers that they have to hire a police officer. We did that back in 2016 after we had a fatality on Route 190. down by the resident trooper's office where they had a flagger. He was struck and killed. So we changed, I think it's your third or fourth handout in 2016, which roads that we require police officers on. We actually have a MOU with Stafford for the past 6 years. We added Ellington this past April. So in June, they started on the agreement. If we can't fill the jobs with our officers, we can't fill them with Stafford officers, then we go to Ellington.
Really?
So we don't go unfilled with any of these jobs. And we're able to get in, the request that we get from a very large number of vendors.
That only underscores the importance of the comparability of the rates, right, for the
Correct.
joining towns
Correct.
in the vicinity.
I thought it was a pretty fair number, the $4 initially, the $2 the following year, and then $4, and then reevaluate, 25, 26. It cost the town nothing.
Can I make a couple of recommendations on this?
And then the only other thing was, if it does get approved, we talked about not doing it possibly in January, the increases.
Yep.
For payroll purposes, it would be in July 1st, which is what the state does.
Yep, so that was gonna be my first recommendation, instead of approving them for
Easy, Brian.
the January 1 dates, to make those effective the July 1
For
date.
July 1, correct.
Because then it can just mold with payroll in the new fiscal year. And I think we should have a statement about
So effective July 1,
July 1,
July 1,
24, July 1,
January 1.
25, and July 1, 26,
Okay.
Go
instead of
with
the
payroll
January.
increases. It's easier for the finance department to do it
Yeah.
fiscally instead of annually. We don't have a problem with that either.
And that, I think we should have a statement. I know it's very rare that it happens. It seems to happen, at least with the four-town fair and sometimes with some one-offs. But if we can't fill it and we have to bring in a state trooper, we should have a different rate for that, because we get charged that plus all the fringe and everything.
I think we
In
want
the past-
Ellington, because Ellington has about 14 officers, I believe now. We have no problems with filling these jobs.
Yeah, I think in the past, like with
Okay.
troopers, we've billed at 125. I think that should just kind of be, like, in there and known that, so
We
vendors
wouldn't
aren't.
bill for a trooper though, would we? Why
We
would
do,
bill
because
for a
we get
trooper?
billed by the state for it.
Well, I don't know,
I mean, I
they
can't
should
tell
hire
the last-
directly, they
Yeah.
should directly hire.
In the past, we have, I mean, I know we've personally seen a bill from, Department of,
Is that for our resident trooper though, or?
I think that would be the only
No,
situation,
Correct.
would be the
that was
resident
other
trooper.
times, like when, I forget his name, but we've had, because we couldn't fill the position, so I think we hired the.
And we've done that like with Sonny's. for
Yeah,
concerts.
Sonny's Place was an example.
Yep.
Four-town fair for the beer garden one year was an example.
But we've gone from 4 resident troopers though, and 1 or 2 town officers to
Yep.
9 town officers and 1, so we've.
Yeah, I don't think it's happened recently. I think we should have a rate in there just to be safe.
And for nonprofits, a lot of times it's the $65 like with the schools.
Yep,
Well, we just shouldn't allow it. I mean, typically the procedure would be, we
If
would
we
say
can't fill
to
it.
like Sonny's, we can't fill it, contact the state police, there's a
And we've
central
done
office
that.
at headquarters,
That's how
and then they will follow their process, and
I'm
Sonny's
fine
will
with
get
that.
billed directly by the state.
I'm fine with that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, we could put it through the special duty office.
Through the special duty.
And we've done that this
The
year.
only problem with the special duty officers is nobody ever wants to go through them because they
Yep.
require so much notice, they require so
Lot
much
of paperwork.
paperwork. Yeah, none of the contractors actually want, they'd rather deal with the town because the town's a lot more
Yeah.
flexible, yeah.
I can find the trooper out of the troop, and then I can contact special duty, let them know we have a trooper to work at. They
We-
just perfect trooper, and it's.
And we did that once already this year, a couple months ago.
Perfect,
Did
perfect.
we reach out to the schools and let them know that the rate will increase? Right now, we don't make any money on the schools,
No, they're at the $65.
Yeah.
Correct.
so whatever we bill the officers, or whatever we pay the officers, is
The rate
what we've
is
been
the same.
billing the schools.
Correct. Yeah.
Just give them a heads up that
Right.
in the coming years, it's gonna increase, and so they
Probably
know.
wouldn't be till July 1st of next year.
Yep.
I guess, so my question, did you review this ahead of time, Brian, or did you?
No, not really. I mean,
Okay.
Kim and I have discussed it, and we've been back and forth on it,
Okay.
but I hadn't seen what the final proposal was.
I mean, I'm good with it. I think it makes sense. I think,
Yeah.
like everything, the cost goes up. I think we need to do it. I guess my question would be, though, what is the breakdown of the town's cost? And typically, like for Brian's point,
42.
what I've seen in the past, like, say the schools, for instance, you typically would charge them the fringe for the officer, because that's out-of-pocket cost for the town, but you wouldn't charge them the fee for the police vehicle. Because typically, there's a surcharge for the police vehicle, you know, the fuel, the wear and tear on the car. Even Sunny's, though, there may be situations where you don't charge them for the vehicle, because the vehicle's just parked. It's not being used as part of the
School is
job.
the only one, the school's the only one that
Yeah.
we do that
Okay.
for, because basically it's parked, but everybody else.
They pay for the car,
They-
which is, that's fine, too. But I guess, you know, what's the breakdown, I guess?
As far
of
as
that?
the fringe goes for that, because it doesn't increase any of their health insurance, it doesn't go towards their pension or anything like that, it's really just, you know, the FICA cost, so 7.65% is really the only additional cost that we would see from it. Saying if we were billing the school 66 and you took 7% of that.
Well, then it's the car.
Yeah, which is
So it's a
usually part of
car.
that, which is what
Yeah.
encompassed in that additional part that we see for the 31,
Okay.
or the, you know, whatever the
I mean, I know
breakdown is for the
Bernie
town.
breaks it down, whether it's a police officer or a police officer with a cruiser. I think it's like 40.
I used to compute the rate, I know.
Yeah, 20, and we got, they
We've never
emailed
broken
us
it down
theirs,
that way.
Yeah,
Enfield, surprisingly, theirs was, $20 with a
It's low,
cruiser.
yeah.
It was very low, and they haven't changed that at all. They've increased, I think, like $7.81 or something.
What you're saying is there's no
3 years,
car,
we kept
there's no
it.
car that goes along with the school.
There is a car that goes along with the school, it's just, we just charge the rate of the officer. Really.
Usually also they pay for 4 hours, and
The minimum
we're
is 4
only
hours.
there for an hour, you know, it'd be like for
Some
a
of them.
basketball game or something, yeah.
Okay.
and typically the view is it's taxpayer money, so like, why are you
You're in your own
using,
town,
like,
right.
left pocket and right pocket, like,
Right.
yeah, so it's,
I mean,
that's typically the,
which is why we don't ask for the extra, like in this case, the extra $33 an hour, like,
yeah.
why, you know?
What do we do with the money? Like, this money that comes in, like, where's that go?
Yeah, we talked about
The
before,
additional-
setting up
the
a
additional-
fund for
we have-
cruisers.
Well, we have a
Yeah.
separate general fund line item
Good
that just
idea.
counts as a budgeted revenue. Kevin and I have discussed in the past of, you know, should we take a portion of that money or some of that money and put it in the capital to be a reserve for future cruisers or something? I mean, if we're collecting, like you said, $94,000 in fiscal '23, even if you put 10% of that aside to capital for future reserves of a police cruiser, in 5 years,
20%
you
of a
could,
car.
in 5 years, you could buy a car.
Yeah, I would say put, yeah, like you said,
Makes
like
sense.
25-30% of the money
Yeah.
aside. I think it makes a lot of sense.
And right now, it's going into the general fund, and it's, you know, paying for, like you said, the additional overhead and so forth that's associated with those, but at the same time, none of it's going towards future cruisers. or-
But, I mean, the benefit of breaking it down, like where I was going, like you said, the 6.25 for FICA, the Medicaid, the 1.45, you
Yep.
can journal that into that expense to relieve it on the town side.
Right.
Same with fuel, you know, we could send a certain amount to fuel, and then, so that way the cost is kind of going where it occurs.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
And the second page of the traffic control requirements is the form that we send out to the contractors and vendors for the breakdown of what they get charged, minimum 4 hours, travel time for the officers.
This one, the second, I think it's right there in front of you.
So we have everybody
Page
that
2 is a little.
request officers send that form back to us, and it is posted on the town website.
Okay, I'm good with all of it.
Yeah.
So we'll modify it then to effective July 1?
For July 1.
Great.
Yeah, fine.
Sounds good, so. Do we need a motion on this? I think we do.
Yes, we do.
Okay, I'd make a motion to approve the, updated proposed rate schedule for, highway construction, what are we calling it, highway, I guess it's extra duty, actually, because it's not just highway, so I'd make a motion to approve the extra duty police officer pay rate, as presented, to modify it, effective July 1, 2024, and July 1, each subsequent year as, presented.
Second?
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Director Rowland, request to apply for a small town economic assistance grant.
Good evening, Todd Rowland, Director of Land Use and Public for the record. Yes, this is a request to the board to apply for another steep grant. As we did in years past, this would be used to fund the replacement of the fire department roof. The fire department roof replacement was formally approved by this body on January 5th and went through the CIP process and was approved by CIP as well as the finance board and at referendum as part of the budget for this fiscal year we're in. However, and unfortunately, the bid we got for the roof was $100,000 prior, 18 months ago, and the bids for the roof that came in the summer were upwards of $183,000. So they've increased significantly. So we have a funding shortfall. The steep grant came through. The notice of the steep grant came through. We thought this would be a good place to use to apply for another steep grant for the town. If approved, we will have to remove the solar panels that are on the roof and then have the roof done and put the solar panels back on by another vendor. I've reached out to DBS, our solar panel vendor, and they're getting a quote to me to do that work, but I've included that in the steep grant.
What's your feeling on why the increase from 100 to 183?
It's kind of been what's going on in the industry in the last couple of years. There's been significant increases in everything. Supply chain still coming off of COVID, and I don't have an answer. We went out.
It is what it is, right?
Bids.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's coming in a lot higher than I expected.
Okay.
And the old bid, they were way off.
What's the time frame if we apply for this before we receive the funding?
Well, the SEEP grant, we would hear in October. The grants are due tomorrow. And we'll hear, they're going to let everybody know in October if we've been awarded the grant. All the applications come out in October. Then we can move forward, so I'd be looking to do the project in the spring. I wouldn't want to do it in the winter.
How long are your bid prices good for?
30 days, we'll have to rebid it.
Okay. All right.
So it could go up even higher.
Could go up a little. I've got some pad in there.
I don't
And
have.
there's some wiggle room on, because the steep grant is typically 80-20, so the town would be looking at about 30,000 worth of this. So there's some wiggle room in there, and I'll go before CIP if we get the steep grant and firm everything up in the spring.
We have some other funding. Okay. All right.
Okay, so we need a motion on this to approve the
Small town
steep
economic
grant.
assistance program.
And allow the first selectman to sign all documents for the steep grant.
Yeah, that's what it says. So I'm happy to make a motion to approve the request to apply for a small town economic assistance program grant for the fire department roof replacement and authorize the first selectman to execute all documents to apply for funding.
Second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Senior Center staffing request.
Good evening, Maureen
Director
Purcell, Director of Rec and Leisure Services. I'm here tonight to request that we hire Mary Ellen Matarazzo for the part-time Senior Center Program Coordinator position with an hourly rate of $18 an hour and a start date of August 28th. Mary Ellen is a Summers resident and a member of the Summers Women's Club. She is a current volunteer. She's been volunteering at the center for at least a year now. She runs a stitching and sewing club. And I believe that Mary Ellen's employment history, as well as her passion for working with the aging population, makes her a perfect candidate for this position.
What's her employment history? I'm just curious.
She owns a business with her husband right now, so she has a lot of business background. She has some other, she's been working in the insurance and manufacturing industry. She worked for the town of East Windsor. She worked in the recreation department part-time and as well as in the senior center as well in East Windsor.
Great.
And I think she will fit in very well.
Good to hear. Need a motion for this, to approve this request.
Sure. I'll have you make the motion to approve the request to hire Mary Ellen Matarazzo for the part-time Senior Center Program Coordinator position, an hourly rate of $18. and, start date of August 28th, 2023.
Second it.
Any further discussion on the motion?
We have an appropriation for this?
Yeah, this was a, current position that, they retired.
You're just filling the position.
Okay.
Florence Turley was
Yeah,
the,
we're
retired.
program coordinator. She was with us for 14 years. She's been gone for about a month now. She's retired, so just a
Makes
fill-in.
sense.
My vote is yes.
All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Director Cox, drug-free community grant update.
Hello, folks. Good evening. Matthew Cox,
Good evening.
Director of Human Services. And here's Tim said to give you an update on the Drug-Free Communities Grant that we received about a year ago. I guess let me start off by saying that the program has been really successful so far. We've accomplished a lot. Certainly there have been some challenges, as there typically can be in the initial years of new funding. You may have noticed in some of the town financials that we are having a bit of carryover into the next grant year. It will end up being about $40,000 that we will carry forward after October 1st of this year. That really results from delays in hiring. When the original proposal was submitted, 12 months of salary and benefits were budgeted. But as you can imagine, unless you have a candidate waiting in the wings, you have another employee you're going to transfer over, you have to post the position, write the job description, screen, hire. That person needs to give notice. And so we had about 3 or 4 months of delay in hiring Taylor Setzler as the prevention coordinator, and then kind of the contagion effect with other kinds of delays in implementing the program. We also had not hired the evaluation consultant, B. Whalen Smith, LLC. That happened in May of this past year instead of a year ago fall. And so we hadn't expended those consulting fees. The good news is that the federal funder is very pleased with the work that we're doing, the things that we've accomplished, and they have contributed to the spending plan from October 1st forward to take care of the carryover funds, preferably before June 30th of next year, so that it coincides with the town's fiscal year instead of the federal year.
Have they expressed their pleasure in writing? I'm just curious.
Yes and no. So they have approved our various requests. Most of this was verbal in conference calls talking about ideas. So for example, one of the ideas that was shared was hiring a consultant to help us with branding and advertising in order to do a targeted campaign in the community. One of the challenges we have found is that many people in the community don't know what Summers Comes Together is, and so it would really be about getting the name out, getting the intent out there. And they said, we were going to suggest that. Most of the coalitions around the country do that at the beginning of year one so that they can get going. And so, anyway, so we have some proposed good activities that will involve parents, youth, going to the various conferences and that kind of thing. So that's how we'll be dealing with the budgeting, spending, and carryover. Otherwise, the three main, I think, probably highlights of the work over the course of the year. One was certainly that in January 2023, the previous director and her team were able to implement the Youth Voices Count survey with our public schools. So many of the other coalitions around the country still, they're at the end of their first years, have still not actually launched their surveys. They're trying to select tools, find consultants, that kind of thing. So they were very pleased with that. The other is that we got our youth coalition up and running, the advisory council, starting in January. The youth meet twice a month, every month, for the last many months. 15 engaged kids from grades 7 to 11. That kind of commitment, engagement, and kind of continuity with the work. The federal funders have been really pleased with. Our evaluation consultant, Bonnie Whalen Smith, is very pleased with that as well. And then we hired the evaluation consultant. So many of the other coalitions are not quite to that point yet. Coincidentally, B. Whalen Smith was also the firm that did our Youth Voices Count survey. She did it in 2017 and then did it again this past January. So she's familiar with Summers, has worked with our data, is familiar with the numbers that are coming forth. And so those things really put us on a solid path. Have accomplished a lot administratively. All of the reports have been submitted on time and approved. We were recently approved for year 2 funding of $125,000, and so we're looking forward to another successful year.
That includes another 40,000 that you're carrying over, correct?
Yes, so that will be approximately $165,000 to spend next year.
So what do you think your biggest challenges are going forward?
The biggest challenge is really, so Summers Comes Together was formed, from what I understand, in 2002, as a generally supportive body of the community. So originally it was not focused on substance use prevention. It was focused on the arts, community engagement, getting parents involved in schools. It was a much broader kind of mission. 5 years ago is when they really started to focus on the prevention work. One of the challenges we've identified is that because the group is not a 501c3, it's not actually an entity of the town, they did not have formal policies and processes, such as bylaws, job descriptions, committee structures, things like that. And so as we move forward, I think that's going to be really important, understanding terms of office, expectations of members, having a recruitment pipeline, so we're continually looking to recruit new members, who is ready to move on, who are we bringing in. And so the meeting that we have next week of Summers Comes Together on Tuesday, Bonnie Whalen-Smith and her team will be there to present the data, engage the group in conversations about what are the actionable local conditions that we can really focus on to make a difference in for the coming year. And then in September, I'll be...
That meeting's going to be here, too, correct? Yeah. Okay.
It's in this room. Next Tuesday, 10:30 to noon. Public is welcome, so all of you, your spouses, neighbors, friends, and so that...
Not the dogs.
No, that might make it fun. But
the dogs will.
yeah, so we're hoping for a large-ish crowd to hear about the data in a formal kind of way, and then have a community conversation about what do we do next, and then make some decisions and move forward from there. That will help us finalize our 12-month action plan for the funder to approve, probably in October, November.
How have you encouraged people to attend that meeting for that sort of discussion you anticipate?
E-blast, social media, personal conversations, telephone calls, that kind of thing. For example, unfortunately, coincidentally, the school leaders are not able to be there. They have an all-staff retreat that particular day at the library, which is why we're going to be here. They were disappointed when they realized it.
They didn't come to the last meeting either, did they?
I myself wasn't at the last meeting.
No, they weren't there.
They weren't there.
Yeah, so but they are really committed to being involved in understanding the data, and so we're in the process of scheduling a separate meeting, in-person meeting, presentation of the data to Dr. Galloway and his team from the schools, and so they will get a chance to hear in a formal way the data presentation. Probably at that point hear a little bit more context about what the conversation in the meeting actually was, so that they can also hear and then also provide input so that we can move forward.
We can also, since it's in the auditorium, we can record that meeting as well if they just...
Oh, sure.
That way they, if you don't have the ability to schedule with all of them, we can have it recorded and they can watch the recording at a later date or something.
That'd be a good idea. Matthew, I noticed something on the second page of this information you gave us about changing the policies and laws.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm just trying to think back when we first didn't allow, marijuana to be at a dispensary in town. And I thought, I might have been wrong, but I thought at that time, I could be wrong, I thought we had passed some type of ordinance at that time.
Yeah, so this comes from the records. I wasn't here a year ago summer, I think, when these were passed. But my understanding was that the former director had worked with maybe some of you and other folks in the town to talk about, what are the opportunities for us not to allow dispensaries in the town and or not allow marijuana use on town property. And so that's really what that reference is.
Okay, because I thought, with Carl Landolina, I thought when we took a vote
Mhm.
And we also had some public meetings about this. I thought we did have some hearings, you know, and people came and spoke. I thought we had made that clear that there would be no marijuana dispensaries
Correct.
in town.
Correct. And that's what I was trying to say there. is
Okay, all right.
That was done.
All right,
That was
okay,
done.
good. I just wanted to
They
make...
advocated for that, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just wasn't quite clear on what you were saying there, I guess. I just wanted to make it clear that we did do that, okay.
Yes, yep.
'Cause
Any other
Thanks.
questions?
Yeah, I had a couple. Thanks for this. I mean, I think the summary is very helpful. I think, you know, coming in to provide the update was great, and I'm glad to hear the coalition's doing well. I think the National Night Out was very successful.
Mhm.
I wasn't able to be there. I saw a lot of photos. I talked to a lot of people who were there. I think it was a hit, so that's a good thing. And I know a key activity, to engage the community. I know you're working on strengthening the coalition. Which additional sectors in the last year? I didn't see any mention really. You know, which sectors have been added, and which additional sectors do we plan to add?
So we're already complete with all of the sectors. My preference, and this would actually be a recommendation to the coalition, the coalition really needs to be run by the volunteers themselves, not by the staff, so we should be there to support them, but they should take the leadership role. My personal preference would be that because we need and probably desire to have a consumer approach, that we have more parents, more youth involved. There are other folks from the schools, health center, some of those other places that we could engage. I think one of the challenges we have with the membership right now is we have about 30 members who are officially on the roster. That's not nearly what our attendance is, and I think what's happened is we chose folks who are the heads of departments who also have really busy schedules, and it's difficult for them to get there. And so they might be representatives from the 12 sectors, the police, the fire, the schools, but they might have a deputy that they could send to actually be the boots on the ground in the meeting and inform them back. And then on subcommittees, we could have other folks in the community who have really good information to share and really good input, but they don't have to attend every meeting. They would just attend subcommittees. And so that's one of the ideas that we'll put forth in September.
Okay, great. No, that sounds good. And then I know, you know, kind of in the first year is kind of the, you know, the survey, the planning, the building. And I know an important part of that is kind of getting the staff trained. And I know that there's, a 3-part training, I think, for the DFC grant, and then there's other, like, CADCA conferences and things like that. Could you just talk a little bit about the training, like who's attended and who plans to attend?
Sure. So the National Coalition Academy, there are 3. It's partly orientation to the Drug-Free Communities program, and then also training on how to complete some of the products that were noted on the first page, the logic model, some of those things. So we're getting ready to attend the 3rd and final one in September. Unfortunately, it coincides with Brian's training on the new time recording system, so I'll miss it. I'll watch the video. But, so it's that kind of middle week of September. So Taylor Setzler, our prevention coordinator, and I will be attending that. In January, we will also attend the annual conference in Washington, D.C. We propose to take with us some parents and youth. It would be a good thing to have the kids involved, sharing what they've been working on, and also to have a face in D.C. And then the mid-year conference is every July. Taylor Setzler attended it in Dallas this past July, and then we'll have at least a few people who attend it next July as well.
Good. Yeah, it's a great way to involve coalition members, and I'm glad you mentioned the youth, because I think that's important. There's a whole youth track for that conference,
That's
and
right.
there's a big piece to that conference for the youth. So, and my final question is, I guess, what strategies are you planning as far as, you know, the risk and protective factors? Like, you know, have the coalition discussed, like, which ones you're going to start to target and kind of specific strategies and...
Yeah, so there are a lot of options. Probably one of the biggest things that we can do is help both youth and parents become comfortable talking about these difficult subjects. And so one of the challenges, one of the local conditions that we have here in Summers that came out of the Youth Voices Count survey is that alcohol is somewhat readily available, and one of the ways is through parents at home parties. And it makes total sense that parents are thinking, well, if I can supervise my child, that's safer than letting them go out to other people's homes. Of course, it's against the law. It's also sends a mixed message on what's okay and what's not. And so some parents have difficulty broaching that topic. The kids don't know how to talk about the disconnect. One of the other things that we've identified is the Four-Town Fair, and alcohol is openly consumed there, and what kind of a message does that send to our youth? And so...
Openly consumed by whom?
Well, the general public. So it would be adults. So it would be people who are legal, but it's still, you still have that, in this fun atmosphere, and then there's some people drinking and some people not. And so it's really starting the conversations on how do we explain to youth why it's okay here and it's not okay there. It's okay for me, but not for you. One of the things that we've seen in the Juvenile Review Board process is some of the folks who have been arrested for vaping or smoking marijuana, when they're asked about how do you think it affects your brain, how do you think it affects your body, why do you think we don't want you doing this, and they truly have no idea that the brain is still developing until about the age of 20 or 21. And if you're doing some of those substances, even nicotine, when you're 13, 14, 15, you're damaging your brain. And most of them had never thought of that before, and it was not until we talked about it. And so one of the things we had them do is do some research. And one of the kids came back and said, "That's really scary. I didn't know. I wish I'd known this." And so one of the strategies is to get that kind of actionable, good information into the hands of the youth, but also the parents who may not know.
Don't they have health classes at the high school?
Trying to partner with health classes too, and to see how we can support them. So presumably they already address some of these topics, but what can we supplement it with, and where? What would be a good option for that?
All right, well, thank you. I look forward to the continued work of the coalition, and I appreciate you coming out and with the update. And
definitely.
Thank you.
Glad to be here. Oh, yes. Operation Fuel, so the memorandum of, thank you. The memorandum of understanding with Operation Fuel, so they are one of our partners in providing emergency heating assistance to folks who lack resources. We actually get a payment. We process the applications. We don't provide the assistance. We simply help the person with their application. We submit it, and then Operation Fuel approves it themselves. And so this is just a request to approve for Selectman Keeney to sign that memorandum of understanding. This is for emergency heating assistance. Next month, we will have another memorandum of understanding with Access Agency, and that's for ongoing utility assistance. So it's a different kind of program.
For quite a few years, right?
Yeah, so this is a continuation of what we've been doing for many years.
And the state provides the assistance, is that how it works?
Yes.
And you just provide the administrative support?
Yeah, the applications can be really complex. They want a second set of eyes to submit the documentation of income and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the role that we take. And we get paid $25 for each application that we submit. So it does bring in some unrestricted revenue for the town as well. So that does go to the general fund.
did we have a copy of the agreement in the packet?
Yeah, I think it's right here.
Yeah, sure.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, Operation Fuel.
Is it? Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
We got a lot of paper.
We got a lot of paper.
Okay.
I might have stapled it to the Steve grant.
I think it's stapled to the steep grant. Okay. Okay.
Mine is.
Thank you.
Mine's right
I think
there.
it is too, yeah, that's right. Mine's on the steep grant.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I don't know, it's like...
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Thank you. Okay.
Don't get your fingers
I'll
caught.
make a motion then to approve the request, enter memorandum of understanding between the town of Summers and Operation Fuel Inc., and authorize the first selectman to sign the agreement.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in support of the motion say aye.
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 Do you want to have him
Motion.
sign that before he leaves, so you can submit it tomorrow?
We could, sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Have a copy of it?
Yeah.
Alright.
Let me see. I have a copy here if you want.
Yeah, let's sign that one, so, because he has to
Okay.
get it submitted, so,
Great.
thank you,
John
sir.
Hancock right now.
That's another one of those, they let us know on Monday they need it by Friday.
Yeah, I'm sure, I understand, we got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
copies of the minutes, so I'll have to wait till Monday.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Matt. Next, we have Joanne Nickting, Director of the Library, to present a reorganization proposal.
Yes, Joanne Nickting, Library Director. I am looking to do a little bit of a reorganization on some of the positions in the library, and the first one is converting a position that is currently listed as a reference librarian into an adult services coordinator position. And what I would like to do with that, we did have a retirement recently on August 1st of Cecilia Becker, who was holding that position of reference librarian. And so as a result of that, we now need to fill that position, and it just puts me at a good opportunity with the vacancy to consider revamping the position and making it a little more what I'm looking for as far as what we need in libraries today. So historically, a reference librarian would be somebody that patrons would come in and they would go to that person and they would get research information. The reference librarian would have all these sources memorized from their background and their education and whatnot. And now we're really not seeing that demand. What we see more so is the need for somebody that can just work with adults and provide adult services. So that might be more like reader's advisory or very simple reference requests, quick help on the computer. And another thing that we're doing is a lot more programming in the library, because the library's become more of a community space. So we have people that like to come in and they like to attend programs for educational or entertainment purposes. So we really need someone that can coordinate that. So, and you may have noticed that we've got a much bigger focus on that recently, or at least since I've come on board. So what I'd like to do is revamp this position from a reference librarian into an adult services coordinator. The previous job description required a master's in library and information science, and I don't think for our purposes and also for the size of our library, the size of our town, that master's is required. And as a result, I think that if we revise the position and take that requirement out, we can also lower the salary a little bit, which will give us some savings to the library, to the town. And it also gives me a little more opportunity to fill the position with somebody that would be appropriate for the position without that restriction. And I do have somebody in mind that I would like to put in that position, which brings me to, I guess, part B on here. We do have a full-time person that's currently employed at the library, Allison Reese, and she is, I think would be an excellent candidate for this position. She has been working with the library, I believe, since 2018, and she handles right now all our interlibrary loan. She coordinates all our homebound volunteers and patrons, as well as working at the circulation desk. She does have a bachelor's degree. She's just an excellent employee. I can rely on her. I know that if I ask her to do something, she's going to do it. She's going to do it right. And I think she would make an excellent candidate for this position. So I am requesting that you consider putting her in that position. The current salary that Cecilia was at was $56,000 something.
174.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
I'm just reading what you gave me.
Oh, yeah, I have it on there, on the back. I have a lot of paper here, too. Yes, so what we're proposing, and I've discussed this with Tim and Brian, and we came up with some numbers that we thought we're gonna work in this scenario, is to offer that position to Allison at $47,500. So that would decrease the salary for that position by $9,474, which drops it down almost 20%.
Would she be okay with that? Is that?
I've spoken to her, she would be okay. This would still be an increase in pay for her.
Okay.
She is the person, I don't know if you remember, that I got an increase for, at budget time.
Yes.
And so she was making, in her current position, I don't have it here, she was making 30.
She went from about 32.8, it was either 32 or 33.8, up to the 41.860 that
Yeah,
she's
that we
currently at.
just.
Okay, so this would be another raise for
This would be an increase for her, so she would get a true promotion and an increase as a result. I've already spoken to her to see if she'd be interested in this position, and I've spoken to her about that potential rate of pay, and she would be very happy with that. And, that's what we're thinking would work well. And I also have, a circulation supervisor. This keeps her new rate of pay just a little bit below the circulation supervisor, which I think is appropriate at this time because, the circulation supervisor has been here in the library longer than Allison has. I believe in being fair is basically what it comes down to. I don't want to take somebody that's been there less time and put them at a higher rate of pay and cause bad feelings. So,
Okay.
I don't know if you want to discuss that before I move into the next position.
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say thanks for your reorganization here. I think it's impressive. I think it's an opportunity to rewrite some position descriptions that haven't been addressed in a long time, like maybe 10 years or more. So it brings these positions up to date as to what it is they're actually doing versus what it says they're supposed to be doing, which is now outdated. It also allows you to promote from within, which I think is a really great opportunity, particularly for morale in the department.
Yeah, exactly, and I feel very strongly about that. Especially if you know that you have a good candidate, you've worked with them, you know what they're capable of.
Exactly. Plus, you end up, and overall, your overall plan saves money, so.
Exactly.
I think there are lots of opportunities here that you take advantage of, and I appreciate your leadership that you've demonstrated.
Yeah, seems very fair.
It hasn't been done in the past, so it's bringing things up to date, so thank you very much.
You want to approve A and B then, Kim?
Yeah, I think it's appropriate, yeah, A and B, go ahead.
Okay, so, make a motion to approve the, Adult Services Coordinator job description.
And, you want to do one at a time?
Yeah, I was just
Okay,
gonna do
fine,
one at a
all right,
time.
sure, okay.
Okay, I'll second that.
Any further discussion on the job description? Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, thank you.
And the second motion is to approve the request to place Allison Reed, is that a correct pronunciation, everybody? In the Adult Service Coordinator position effective August 27th, 2023, with an annual salary of $47,500.
Second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Go ahead,
Okay.
Joanne.
The next one is to, so as a result of transferring Allison into the Adult Services Coordinator position, that of course will leave a vacancy in her current position. Her current position is listed as Interlibrary Loan Library Technical Assistant. And what I would like to do is, obviously, because we're gonna now ideally put somebody else in there, I'd like to revamp that a little bit. I want to just call it a library assistant. It's more of a catch-all. Right now, she does do interlibrary loan, but she does more than that. And also a technical assistant, I don't know who came up with this name, but technical assistant in libraries generally means a cataloger. So she doesn't do cataloging, so that word technical really should come out. So I thought we just call it a library assistant, and that it's just a good catch-all. And then I just kind of cleaned up a little bit of language on here, that's about it. So that's what I'd like to do with that position, and moving on to D, I have another excellent candidate for that position. Her name is Cheyenne West. She currently works part-time for us and has been with the library for a little over a year. She works in at the circulation desk, so primarily she helps checking in books and checking out books and usually little things that we give her to do. She is qualified to do a lot more than that. She's a very, very bright young lady. She also has a bachelor's degree, and this library job is her first job, and she is ready and willing to go full-time, and I think she'd be a great asset if we put her in the library assistant position full-time. I think she's just would be really good at that. She's got a great attitude. She's willing to do, again, anything you ask, she does it. I can't say enough, she's super smart. You can give her anything and she figures it out. She's great.
She's right out of school, too, right?
She's pretty much right out of school, yeah, and I think this would be a great opportunity for her, and again, I'd like to take care of our own and put her in that. I have spoken to her to see if she'd be interested, and she is, and so we would keep the annual salary the same for that position. That's that new salary that we just came up when we did the budget. So I'm asking you to consider placing Cheyenne West in that position.
So we need two more motions here for C and D.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the library assistant job description.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Any further discussion on the library assistant job description? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye, motion passes. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the request to place Cheyenne West in library assistant full-time position effective August 27th, 2023, the annual salary of $41,860.
Second that.
Any further discussion on the salary and the placement of Cheyenne West? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Next.
Okay, the last one I have is I would like to revise the children's librarian position to be a assistant director / youth services. Actually, I meant to flip that around. This position is currently held by Marie Strongwell as children's librarian, and we have recently, in the last year or so, we've actually added all the teen responsibilities to her plate. We had talked about that here before, how we had a part-time teen librarian and we had a vacancy, and rather than try and find a part-time professional librarian, we decided that we would give those responsibilities to the children's librarian and we would find her an assistant to help her instead. So that's what we did. She took over the teens. She's doing a great job. So really, I think youth services librarian is more appropriate than children's, but also big picture, she truly is in the role of an assistant director, even though it has not been on her title, and I think it should be. She has been interim director not once but twice when the last two directors left. And she is absolutely assists me as an assistant director. If I'm on vacation or whatnot, she acts in my role. And also she's definitely somebody that I go to as a sounding board or, just to run ideas by, because sometimes I need help with things and I just need someone to say, hey, what do you think of this? So it's nice having that other professional librarian there to help me in that role. So
you're also absent from the library at times too, right?
Yeah, exactly. When I'm
So
on
like you're
vacation or
not
something,
there.
then the staff knows that they can go to her and she's in charge when I'm out.
Right.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. So the second part of that is, we'd just like to see a little increase in her salary as a result of that. And, we do have that savings, as we mentioned, from the other positions. So, she is currently at $65,871. the proposed salary that, and like I said, I had talked to Tim and Brian about this previously, and we thought 69.5 would be an appropriate salary for her. That is an increase of $3,629, or a little over 5%. And
She's also increased her responsibilities in the job, correct?
she's
Yeah.
taken over all the teams and more programming thanks to me, so.
Over and above what he
Yeah.
currently serves in.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sounds like you got a pretty strong team.
I think I got a very strong team. I am very, very fortunate.
Great.
That's excellent.
All right, now I'll make a motion to approve the Assistant Director, Youth Services Librarian job description.
Second that.
Any further discussion on the job description of Assistant Director, Youth Services? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes, thank you.
Now I'll make a motion to approve to place Marie Stromwell, in the Youth Services Librarian Assistant Director position effective August 27th, 2023, with annual salary of $69,500.
Second that.
Any further discussion on the placement of Marie Stromwell?
I guess since we're on the last motion, I'll just say I would echo what the first selectman said, you know, as far as, the plan. I think it's a good plan, and, I think it's gonna position the library, you know, very well for the future. And I think, like the first selectman said, things have been stagnant there for a while, and I think that, you know, you're kind of moving it in a good direction, which is, you know, nice to see. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great
Very
job.
good. All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your presentation. Next, we have Mr. Wissinger, CFO. Talk about approval of a lease agreement and escrow account agreement.
So the last meeting on August 3rd, I gave you guys the bids that had come in. TD Bank was the winning bid on the capital lease package that we had put together. And so then they spent the last couple of weeks putting the documents together and sending them out to us. So in front of you, the first item is the lease purchase agreement. I've sent these off to Carl as well. He has to send me a copy of his opinion on it, on his letterhead. That'll be part of the package as well. Looking at previous leases, it's the same boilerplate that was in other ones. So you just have to approve Tim to sign these documents to enter into the lease. It is for a 5-year agreement. And I'm not sure if these pages or one of the other miscellaneous pages has the annual payment. No, it does beyond it. So it'd be $69,292.44, which the check was part of the scheduled payments that you approved earlier. The first payment is due at closing.
Okay.
You said that Carl has responded in writing about this.
I've sent it to him. I haven't seen it
Okay.
yet, but I did send it to him. He has to put an opinion on letterhead to go with it. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it looks fine to me. I mean, the important thing is it has the non-appropriation language in there, and that's the important thing to this
Yep.
kind of document, so I'm good with it.
Your motion on that?
Sure.
Motion to approve the lease agreement from TD Bank for a 2023 Ford F-250 and a 2024 Freightliner 114 SD dump truck with plow, and authorize the first selectman to sign all associated documents.
Second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you.
All right, and then the second part is the escrow agreement, because we have not taken delivery of the equipment yet. TD Bank will open up an escrow account on our behalf, and when we take delivery of the equipment, they will then pay the vendors for it.
Okay.
You have to authorize Tim to sign that as well.
Motion on that.
Sure.
Motion to approve the lease agreement from TD Bank for a 2023 Ford F-250 and a 2024 Freightliner 114 SD dump truck with plow, and authorize the first selectman to sign all associated documents.
Second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you.
Bring your sign in hand on Monday, Tim. There's about
Fine.
15 signatures.
I got it. I can do that. I'll be here.
Break them down.
Okay, the next item's on the agenda of mine. As you know, we have 2 awards we hand out every year to deserved individuals or groups of individuals. And this year, the Robert B. Perkosky Community Service Award, this is granted to, he served, Bob Perkosky served both as town clerk and first selectman, and gave unselfishly of his time in order to improve the lives of citizens of Somers, state of Connecticut, United States of America. The award is presented annually by the Board of Selectmen to deserving citizens or a citizen who exemplified the ideals of character, integrity, service, kindness, and unselfishness to their fellow citizens in the town of Somers. The award was established December 23, 1966, which I think is the year that Mr. Perkosky passed away. This year, I'm recommending that the award being given to Shirley Warner, based on the fact that Shirley's contributed in excess of 35 years to the library board as an elected trustee. She's also been instrumental in the forming and the workings of the Somers Players Association. And she's also, I'm sure, done other things as well that I can't recall. Maybe someone else can, but she's been instrumental, I think, in the town of Somers for the last 35, 40 years. And she's just moved to Arlington, Virginia, which means, of course, that she would not be able to come to accept the award, but we can still give it to her anyway. I'm just thinking that I'd like to hear from my fellow selectmen as to their thoughts about this proposal.
Yeah, I think she'd be very deserving. I think it's a good choice, and I think it'd be a nice way to honor her many years of service to her town.
I agree.
And I must say, she was also just recently recognized by the Library Board of Trustees as they gave her, she was recognized by our state representative, state senator, with all sorts of bells and whistles from the state capitol. But she was also recognized by the Board of Trustees as they're naming the reference library room after Shirley Warner to recognize her contributions to the library.
To the library. Make a motion that the Board of Selectmen award the 2023 Robert B. Perkosky Community Service Award to Shirley Warner.
Second.
All those in favor, any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next award is the Adolph P. Anderson Quality Employee Award, also known as Kenny Anderson, to those that knew him. It's in memory of Adolph Anderson, who served 37 years as a superintendent of public works and provided many long hours of quality service to citizens of Somers while ensuring that the roads remained clear of snow and parks were maintained for recreation and that all public works projects were completed in a quality manner. I hope that the level of standards has been upheld since then.
We do our best, and we uphold a high standard. They did a great job.
The award is presented annually by the Board of Selectmen to a deserving town employee who has provided high-quality, passionate, and unselfish service to all citizens throughout the town of Somers. The award was established in January 13th, 2003. My recommendation is that this year's award go to Jen Roy, who has just recently been promoted to the Assistant Director of Land Use. Based on the fact that Jen has taken on many additional duties in the last 18 months, particularly during a period of great flux of the department. The department's has had some challenges. Needless to say, it's not one of the most popular departments of the town to begin with. They have to make some tough decisions, and they're constantly under criticism and fire by town residents. She has, I think, served well in that position. She stepped forward. She's managed the day-to-day operations of the department while she's been there. She's also been ensuring that staff, with regards to walk-in customers, are being handled as best as can be. In doing so, she's also instructed the new employee who does assist with walk-ins as to what that job is all about and helps that person in that position. She's also assisted in leading the other department staff members. That's primarily the director with regards to responsibilities and opportunities that maybe he should take advantage of. She's also been the zoning enforcement officer and division operator, which is her main job, and that probably the toughest job of all the jobs in land use.
Took a lot of grief.
And he continues to do so as well. So she's constantly under fire. And she acts as the zoning, planning, and zoning board of appeals liaison, all three entities that she attends their meetings at night, and does the grunt work to maintain those committees and keep them moving ahead. And she updates our floodplain management policies and practices as well. So with that, I'd like to suggest that Jen Roy be considered as the recipient of the Adolph P. Anderson Quality Employee Award, and I'd like to hear from my other selectmen.
I think it's a good choice.
Yeah, no, I would agree with the first selectman's recommendation. I mean, I think she has provided important continuity for that department. You know, we've drawn a lot, I know the board has, and I know town hall staff on her experience and knowledge. You know, she's helped keep this important function going. She's always willing to pitch in and take on extra duties. You know, another big project she was instrumental in getting online was the online permitting system. You know, I know that she was the one that really spearheaded that, so I think she's a deserving recipient.
Good, and that doesn't mean that just because they come from the same department that we give the award to someone in that department every year. But all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did we make a motion? I'm sorry.
No.
Was there a motion?
No, nobody,
There
no.
was no motion, I'm sorry.
I'll make the motion.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Okay, great, thank you. Seconded by Selectman Schmidt. Okay. Great, so the next thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes, I believe.
Should I make a motion to approve the minutes from the August 3rd, 2023 regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen as presented?
Any further discussion on the minutes from our last meeting on August 3rd, 2023? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to adjourn. Thank you.
Hey, Brian, what's your name? Brian. What? Brian. Never mind. Bye, you guys.
I never seen this, message before.
I'm not gonna be able to. I just realized I